Hello everybody, welcome to the Redmen TV. It's the starting 11 prediction time again, and what a starting 11 to predict. This is like Christmas come early, or Christmas in Catalonia, as you will. But interesting fact about this actually, when we first came to the office this morning, Andy, who works sort of behind the scenes here, sprang a fact on us. This colour here is the flag, or the colours of Catalonia. You ever wonder why there's an English flag in the Barcelona badge? Well, apparently, there were two schoolboys who went to school in Crosby, in Liverpool, and then went over to Barcelona and became the founders, or sort of the owners of Barcelona. And they said, right, what colour are we going to have our kit? Are we going to style it? And they said, well, there's a rugby team at the school we used to go to, and they basically based the colours off of that. So apparently that's true. But there you go. Bit of fun fact for you before we get into the show. But oh my God, I am excited for this. 2 more sleeps before we get to see these absolute titans go head to head in the Camp Nou. But I'm here to preview your starting 11 prediction, or Klopp's starting 11 prediction. And I've got no hat on this time. I finally had a haircut for all the people who said I looked like Professor Quirrell. Some people were saying that I literally was hiding Voldemort in the back of my head. So gone. We're back in business. But we'll get into the team. Any prizes for guessing who's in goal? None, because nobody's dropping this guy. I think that's what, 44 games or something he's played, including the Premier League. He's not been dropped for anything, I think, outside of the I think it's the League Cup and the FA Cup he got dropped for. But Alisson Becker's got to keep his place, hasn't he? He's absolutely fantastic, on his way to hopefully picking up the Golden Glove alongside, all of the PFA nominees and winners, obviously, from the other night. 9 goals conceded in the competition so far. I think he's got a 40% clean sheet record, and that's only 1 off to Stegen, obviously. So it's going to be a tightly contested game of who can hold their resolve, and I think Alisson Becker can do it better than any other option at Liverpool. 2.82 saves per 90, 4.04 long passes, and 17.1 short passes per 90 in the Champions League. I think Alisson Becker's got to keep his place. I like to offer a bit of debate and questioning in this show, but I don't think anyone's got any kinds of Alisson keeping his place, have they? So he stays in. But a position that I think might have a bit of debate in, which we'll get to now, is right back. I've personally gone Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, let me know in the comments, do you think maybe Gomez comes in here for a bit of right back resolution, for a bit of defensive nous? But I've gone Trent because it's this. I think that what Barcelona are going to try and do at the Camp Nou, they've just won the La Liga. They've not really got anything left to play for in the league anymore. The games after this are null almost. So I think that they're really going to go for it at the Camp Nou. And I think Jordi Alba could be caught out. As he's bombing forward, I think one of Trent's best assets is freeing Salah. That Salah Hendo, that Trent Hendo Salah triangle that they've got that's working so well at the minute. It's been on fire, and I think Trent could really utilise Jordi Alba's high press. When he comes out of position, if Trent can play it round him, Salah will be away down that side. So I've kept Trent in the team. 55.34 passes per 90, 5.08 crosses, and 5.43 interceptions per 90. I can see why there could be a case made for maybe we put Gomez there, try and absorb that Barcelona pressure in the away leg. But personally, I think we fight fire with fire. I think that Trent could really do a job and could really hurt Barcelona in the Camp Nou. But let me know in the comments below, do you bring Gomez in? Do you bring Milner in maybe at right back? But we'll get into the centre halves first before you let me know. I think it's Joel Matip. I think he's had an excellent spell of games, since Lovren and Gomez have been injured, and I can't really sing his praises enough. He's not really much more he could do at the level he's performing at. I think it'd be criminal to drop him in this game. Again, the same question could be asked along with the right back. Could Gomez come in here? Could Lovren come in here? I think Matip's got to be a dead cert to stay in this game alongside Van Dijk. I think he's been the most reliable. And an option with Matip is obviously those Miranda and runs that he goes on through the middle of players, midfields and defences, and I think that's something that Barcelona are probably oblivious to. When you're looking at a Liverpool starting 11 sheet and you go, right, Salah, Mane, Firmino, they're a threat. Van Dijk's really good in the air. Let's watch out for him. Fabinho's good. Keita's good. Who highlights Matip and says he's an attacking threat? I don't think many people do. So I think Matip could be sort of a hidden secret weapon, for breaking down that Barcelona midfield. 50.84 passes per 90, 6.59 defensive duels per 90, and 6.78 interceptions per 90. I think personally, him alongside the next centre-half we're going to get onto in a second could be the best centre-half partnership we've got available at the minute. But let me know, would you make any changes here? But we'll get into the next centre-half first, and it's PFA Player of the Year, Virgil van Dijk. Up against the best player in the world, frankly, isn't he? The alien boy, Lionel Messi, but it's going to be the most exciting test, isn't it? You know, when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object, what happens? Is there going to be a black hole in the Camp Nou? Who knows? But if there's one man that can challenge and try and take down the great Lionel Messi, it's got to be Virgil van Dijk, hasn't it? Hasn't missed a Champions League game apart from the one I think he was injured for. 47.63 passes per 90.8% of those are accurate. You know, remember that through ball over the top to Mane against Bayern Munich that was absolutely phenomenal. 3.03 defensive duels per 90, 6.26 aerial duels, winning 63% of them, by the way. The guy's just an absolute colossus at the back, isn't he? That is one word that you could always use to sum up Van Dijk is colossus, and 4.8 interceptions per 90. And I think him alongside Matip is our best centre-half choice. Let me know. You know, would you bring Gomez in? Would you bring Lovren in? I think personally that's what Klopp's going to go for, but it'd be really interesting to see what you guys at home think. But we'll get into the left back first. Again, a position that I don't think you're ever going to get rid of. You know, there's not a guy that can do a better job than Andy Robertson at left back, and he's absolutely phenomenal. You know, whereas where Barcelona have got a lightning quick left back, we've got a lightning quick left back and right back in Trent Alexander-Arnold, and that's something that I think we've got over Barcelona as two teams that play full-back offensive play. We've got it on both flanks at an absolute world-class level this season. And again, 2 assists to join Trent Alexander-Arnold's 2 assists for 4. 55.67 passes per 90, 81.7% of them are accurate. 2.71 crosses and 4.01 interceptions per 90. But Robertson's going to have the hardest job of everyone, and that's marking Lionel Messi on that right-hand side. And to be honest, as good as Robbo is, I don't think he can do it alone. And he's going to need the help of Virgil van Dijk, and then he's going to need the help of the midfield that we're about to get into in a sec to ensure that Messi doesn't get enough time on the ball. And we do our best to keep him out of the game as much as possible, but it's Messi, so who knows. But we'll get into the midfield. The people that I think are going to be able to do that job, it's got to be Fabinho. You know, we haven't seen him in a little while now. Obviously, he had that little head injury, and I've heard in the press and in the media that he should be absolutely fine for this game. So I think Fabinho comes back in. I think he's our most gifted number 6, sort of in that solo position on his own. You know, tackles, dribbles, passes, evades press. It's better than anyone, I think. You know, Gini Wijnaldum's a very good 6, but I think Gini's a bit more of a better 8. Whereas a solo 6, I don't think you've got a better man than Fabinho for the job. 53.32 passes per 90, 12.28 defensive duels per 90. That is fantastic. 4.4, we've got defensive duels per 90 on here twice. I don't know what that one was supposed to be, but I'm assuming one of them is probably aerial duels. And 4.4 interceptions per 90. Fabinho is, I can't sing his praises enough. Again, like I was saying earlier, when you're going through a Liverpool team and you're singling out players that have had a fantastic season, since he's come in and got settled, he's been irreplaceable for me. You know, we've been chopping and changing because we've had the ability, the availability to, but if you're chalking it down to best 11, current 11 Liverpool team, I think Fabinho's got to keep his place in that 6, so he does. But we'll get into his compatriots in midfield. I think it's going to be Jordan Henderson. You know, I think the Brexit midfield that it's been coined is long gone now. You know, this new revitalised Jordan Henderson that's absolutely seems to be insanely good. You know, at the top of that midfield, 4 or 5 assists I think he's got in his last 5 or 6 games. He's got a goal in there as well. He's on fire at the minute. There's no way I don't want Jordan Henderson in this team. He's got proven European experience. I think he's the longest serving candidate at our club now. And like I say, he's a man reborn in this position that a bit further up the pitch. I absolutely can't wait to see Jordan Henderson unleashed upon Barcelona's back line. 50.82 passes per 90, still absolutely excellent with the ball. 5.35 long passes, 7.71 defensive duels, and 4.88 interceptions. And what I love about Jordan Henderson is, as he's been trained and he's learned the 6 role over the last 2 years because he's had to, because we just haven't had anyone there to cover, he knows how to do both. You know, we can let him go forward and we can let him loose on like Lenglet and PK at the back for Barcelona, but he also knows when to drop in. You know, he also knows when, if Barcelona are on the break with your Coutinho's, your Dembele's, your Rakitich's, your Messi's, and your Suarez, he knows where to be at all times. You know, he's got both the benefits of being an excellent attacking footballer and the benefits of being a very experienced defensive midfielder. So I think Jordan Henderson could be the key man against Barcelona. So I'm really excited to see what he can do. But we'll get into the last midfielder, who is Gini Wijnaldum. Now, I want to know what you guys think at home. I've gone Gini Wijnaldum because he offers more defensive stability than any of the other options I think we've got available to us. I think James Milner could, and that's where I want to pose to you guys right now. Do you bring Milner in, or Keita, for example, any of these midfielders in for a like-for-like swap with any of the midfielders I've just mentioned? I personally think Gini's going to get the place because, again, I think it's going to be a hard game. Barcelona got nothing to lose. It's at the Camp Nou. They're at home. They're going to throw their all at us. And Gini Wijnaldum is probably his best asset is being press resistant. He can turn on a sixpence when he's got other players swarming him, trying to man mark him off the ball. I think he's excellent at that duty. 44.78 passes per 90. He can still pass excellently. 5.5 defensive duels, 6.47 offensive duels, and 2.48 interceptions. And he's tried and tested in Europe. It's not Hendo, Gini, Milner like we used to. We've got Fabinho in there now to sort of to shore up that 6 role and let Gini free a bit. We see for the Netherlands, and we see for, I can't remember what game it was, but when he scored against, who's it that he scored the corner against, Si? Do you remember? Who did Gini Wijnaldum score that corner
for
against?
Liverpool?
Yeah.
When Trent crossed it in low,
Yeah.
it was against...
It's completely escaped my head. Cardiff?
Yeah, Cardiff.
Yeah, there you go, Cardiff. So that Gini Wijnaldum, that cross that came in from the corner, absolute striker's finish from Gini Wijnaldum. So I think that you got Fabinho in that 6, and Jordan Henderson and Gini Wijnaldum available to go up forward. What he can do is the same with Jordan Henderson is he can defend when needed. You've got a midfielder there who's very good, proven attacking footballer, but also knows exactly how to defend in tight situations against top opposition. So for me, I think Fabinho, Henderson, Gini, that's going to be what I think Klopp chooses. But equally, he could bring a Milner in. Maybe this is Keita's chance against a big opposition. But let me know in the comments below, what is your midfield 3? I'm really interested. Do you even play a 4-3-3? Because I've gone 4-3-3. Do you play a 4-2-3-1? I really want to know what you guys think about this one, because it's a really interesting topic. But while you do that, we'll get into the front 3. And who else other than Mohamed Salah? He's in absolute lightning form. Just come off the back of 2 goals against Huddersfield. 4 goals in the Champions League, 10 appearances. I think, like I was saying before, I think that Barcelona's weak link is going to be that left-hand side. Jordi Alba is known for bombing up that left-hand side. And Barcelona, I think, have conceded about between 30 and 40 goals in the La Liga this season. And their defence isn't anywhere near sort of the defences of old with your Carlos Pujols inside it. But I think Salah could be unbelievable against Barcelona. Everyone touts Barcelona as being, they've got Lionel Messi, they've got Suarez, Coutinho, they've got a phenomenal attack. So have we. We can go toe-to-toe with this Barcelona team, which is something that I can't believe I'm saying in this day and age. Liverpool can go toe-to-toe with Barcelona, man for man. And the guy that can absolutely tear apart that Barcelona defence is Mohamed Salah. 7.17 dribbles per 90, 66.2% of them completed. 16.57 offensive duels and 3.88 shots per 90. That is key. I think that against an opposition like Barcelona, these chances are going to come. It could come thick and fast, and it could come sort of few and far between, depending on which Barcelona defence turns up on the day. But if we get the prime Mo Salah, the Mo Salah that's ripping defences apart at the minute, he's going to be a real handful. And that Jordi Alba hole that is going to be left, I think Salah can exploit absolutely brilliantly. So he's got to keep his place, of course, alongside, again, any prizes for predicting this front 3? The other guy who got 2 goals against Huddersfield the other day. Again, 4 goals in the Champions League. These guys I can't believe that they're at a level that's so similar. Imagine, like, people would kill to have one of these guys in their team. But we've got 2 of them. 2 wingers that you could say are the 2 most offensive wingers. Obviously take Lionel Messi out because he's not human. But outside of Lionel Messi, are these the 2 best wingers in football at the minute? I don't know. I think there's a very good case you could make for it. 5.51 dribbles per 90, 12.76 offensive duels, and 2.03 shots per 90. It's going to be a bloodbath, in my opinion. If you go and watch the Uncensored Match Build-Up, which will be out, when's the Uncensored Match Build-Up outside?
8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
8 o'clock tomorrow morning, you will see myself, Ross, Tom and Chris previewing the Barcelona game. But I predicted a 3-1 away win at the Camp Nou. And I know it sounds a bit mad, but I have so much faith in this front 3 in the form that they're in, that they could absolutely annihilate that Barcelona defence. And as long as we can rely on our, to be honest, PFA award-winning, what's that, three defenders in the PFA Team of the Year, and they're all from Liverpool, I think we'll be okay. But we'll get into the final forward. And bear in mind, we got that 5-0 win against Huddersfield, albeit Huddersfield are terrible. They're not a good team whatsoever, and it's a shame they're going down, but they just couldn't cut it. We did it without Bobby Firmino, and this is a guy that I think will feature. Now, there was the news that came out that he'd got a slight muscle tear, but I was reading some articles about it, and to put your mind at ease if anyone's stressing, any muscle strain, any time you see or a player's missed a training session because he's got a muscle strain, that's equivalent of a muscle tear. Anytime you have an ache or a strain in your muscle, there's tiny fibres in that muscle that have been torn. So they were saying that, to be honest, an injury of his sort of stature, he said maybe maybe he'll miss the Barca game, but he'll be absolutely fine for the Newcastle game. But as Klopp said, it's Bobby. He absolutely loves playing football. So I'm thinking this accompanied with a bit of mind games from Klopp, is making Barcelona think maybe they have to come up against a Daniel Sturridge, maybe a Divock Origi, a Shaqiri, putting that in their head, and then you go, boom, on the day, Bobby stays in, you've prepared, or you put your eggs in separate baskets because you're not sure who's playing, and the main man comes back into the team. I personally think that's what's going to happen, and we need him, And again, 4 goals in the Champions League. That's 12 goals across our front three in this competition already, and 3.54 dribbles per 90. Again, it's just, I've said it before, I think with the ball at his feet, Bobby's the best dribbler in our team. 6.28 offensive duels per 90 and 1.9 shots per 90. And I think with those 3 in that team, Bobby, arrested Bobby, obviously he's missed a few games. I think we could be lethal. But I want to know, what's your team? We'll get into the formation and how it looks right now. But I want to know, whilst we're doing that, do you think, A, we're going to play this formation, or are we going to go back to a 4-2-3-1? We're at the Camp Nou, and as much as I've said, I'd love to go for their throats, we do also have to realise it's bloody Barcelona and Lionel Messi. So could we see, maybe a Fabinho, Gini, Hendo, 4-2-3-1, with sort of your with these sort of offensive players back over here? But personally, I think we play them at their own game. Barca play a 4-3-3. It's that beautiful sort of formation, full flowing formation that we're so good at. And also, I want to know, how does your midfield look? I genuinely it was a big call as to think who's going well. It's a real test to say Milner doesn't play this game because he's played so many of these European games altogether. And finally, does Gomez come in at any position here? Does Gomez come in at right back? Does he come in at centre half? I'm really interested to know what you guys think, but we'll get into the comments now. What are the people saying, Si?
So we've got quite a few interesting comments.
Okay.
Copite27 says, will you be happy to come away with a draw and an away goal? I certainly will.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Like I said, 3-1 would be, that's me dreaming. That's my preferred score. That's my predicted score if things go well. But the bottom line is it's Barcelona. Who've just absolutely walked the Liga. They've scored something like, I think their front four, Dembele, Messi, Suarez, Coutinho have scored over 60 goals between them. They are an absolute force to be reckoned with. And to be honest, in a way, a 1-1 at the Camp Nou, not a problem. Because I know as soon as they get back on home turf, back at Anfield, that's our game. That the tides turn then, and that becomes in Liverpool's favour. And I'd bite your hand off for a 1-1, to be honest. But yeah, really, really good point.
Ahmed Matar says, Trent is excellent moving forward, but for a game like this, he may be a liability in the back. How about Milner at right back?
Yeah, that's a really good say. I made this case in the match build that you'll see tomorrow morning, mate. It's a really good point. Nobody really considers Milner, do they? It's only when we're Robertson or Trent are injured. And obviously, since Gomez has been injured the last 4 months, it's sort of only been Milner as the reliable sort of cover. That's why I'm posing Gomez. Do you think that it's too soon for Gomez? But nobody ever thinks about Milner, do they? And I think that's a really good case. You only have to look back at PSG at home at Anfield. Milner was all over Neymar. He didn't give him a sniff of that ball. So honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if we saw Milner, because I think if you're trying to, Milner still offers a lot going forward. He's still got an absolutely excellent cross. He just doesn't really have that energy going up and down. But I think we'll see when the day comes and Milner's playing here, we will be trying to play for that draw. So going back to that comment previous, if we do see a Milner at right back, a 1-1 draw would be excellent, because it's gone exactly sort of to plan as to how we wanted to manage that game. So really good point.
Jason Cox says, absolutely throw Hendo in. He needs to be in for games like this. His leadership in the centre of the park has always been underrated, and his vision is showing as he's further forward.
Mate, could not have said it better myself, mate. You've hit the nail on the head there. This Jordan Henderson's long sort of evolved from the Jordan Henderson of a year ago, where he'd sit here, everyone would be like, oh, stop playing passes sideways, playing it backwards, stop being the safe Jordan Henderson. He's been unleashed. Someone's just gone, Jordan Henderson's gone to Klopp and said, do you remember how I played in the 13-14? Do you remember how instrumental I was? Do you remember how important I was to that attack? And Klopp's gone, oh yeah, sound, yeah, go ahead. We've got Fabinho that can cover you now, so go for it. And he's absolutely showed in dividends how sort of instrumental he can be in that position, and I absolutely agree. People think, oh well, Jordan Henderson's getting goals and assists now, wicked, but what he's never ever lost is his leadership ability, and you're absolutely right. Away at the Camp Nou in a semi-final, you need calmer heads, experienced heads with the likes of Henderson. That's why I was saying, do you keep Milner in? Because he is very experienced in European games. You need calm heads that can say to you guys, you're inexperienced guys, you know what, we've got this. Regardless of the score, we've got this. Just keep it calm, keep it tight. And Jordan Henderson, I think, like I said earlier, I think he could have probably the most important role in this game. So excellent point, mate.
I just had one then, sorry. Jason Archdeacon, again talking about Milner, says we need him in case we get a penalty. He's so composed and is our penalty taker. Would you consider throwing Milner in the team for that reason?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Obviously, there was the big sort of hoo-ha a couple of games ago about, the Milner-Salah penalty controversy, but you're right. When Milner's on the pitch, I don't trust another guy other than James Milner to take that penalty. He's absolutely clinical when he needs to be, and it even goes above the penalties, mate. It's a really nice position to be in. It's if you're having a problem, it's not, you don't want it to be sort of, we've got to fit names in here because we've got injuries. It's a case of we've got a surplus of excellent talent in midfield. So it's sort of, how do you squeeze all these guys in? So let me know, actually, mate, who are you swapping him out for? Because I want to know, is it Gini? Is it Fabinho? Because I'm assuming, obviously, everyone's sort of in agreement Henderson playing this game. I'm going to guess. What about you, Si? If you were going to rotate Millie, who would you switch him for?
I'd probably take Henderson out myself, to be honest.
Really? Okay, why?
I think Fabinho and Gini over the course of the season have shown that they can do that job in the role that they need to do. I think Henderson, while he's been fantastic the last few games, I've loved his performances. Mm-hmm. But if I had to put Milner in for one of them, it probably would be Henderson. Okay. I think the other two are more important to us, to be honest.
Wow, there you go. There's a curveball to the points I was making, but that's harping back to sort of, there's so much choice you've got with this midfield, and I can't wait to see what Klopp comes out with, because bottom line is, whoever he comes out with, the midfield's going to be excellent either way. It's just whether it's going to be a bit more geared defensively, a bit more geared offensively. Is it going to be balanced? I think this has got good balance. I think that's why I've picked that team, because you've got your attacking midfielder. Who would have thought that we'd be saying Jordan Henderson's our attacking midfielder against Barcelona? It's a bit mad, isn't it? You've got your 8, Gini, you can do both. You can come forward and he can defend and he can cover fullbacks when needed. And you've got Fabinho, your absolutely rock-solid 6, who can just cover all of this part of the pitch on his own, because he's an absolute unit. And he's got an excellent pass and he can dribble the ball as well. So, and he's excellent he's excellent with his feet and tackling and stuff as well. So, personally, I think that's going to be Klopp's 11. That's my preferred 11. Again, as soon as this goes out on YouTube, I'm going to jump into the comments and have a discussion with you guys down there as to what your team is. But that has been the Starting 11 show for Barcelona. Guys, I cannot wait. Is this the best game of the season so far? Is this the most exciting game of the season? I think it is for me, and I can't wait till Wednesday. But anyway, you've all been excellent, as always. Make sure you drop a like on the video, subscribe to the Redmen TV, jump on over to redmentv.com. Got a whole host of stuff coming this week, with whether it's your stats and tactics post Huddersfield, if you've not had enough of that 5-goal thriller, all of the build-up all of the post-match for Barcelona with your final word, with the man of the match, will be out on the Thursday. So yeah, make sure you jump over there, start your 3 months on the redmentv.com, and just enjoy the build-up to Barcelona. Thank you very much, guys.